A very good morning to you out there. It's a pleasure to welcome you to the News at 10 this Monday on the network service of the NTA, reaching you live from NTA News 24 Abuja. I'm Dennis Adigunloye.
And I am Ifoma Ojinta. We thank you very much for joining us. Now let's take a look at the headlines.
President Buhari meets Prince Charles on environmental and economic issues.
To assist in certain areas such as reforestation, which is a priority for us.
Pipeline explosion at Ilé-Epo-Ikoro Road, Abule by Lagos. Firefighters from Lasema and fire service curtail outbreak caused by vandals.
Nigerian Meteorological Agency NIMET predicts changes in weather conditions in Nigeria and environs.
Plus, Nigeria's production of the world's first ever herbal anti-snake venom vaccine. Correspondent takes a look at obstacles and funding.
All right, let's begin in the United Kingdom, where issues relating to environmental preservation and sustainability for job and economic prosperity dominated as Charles, the Prince of Wales, played host to President Muhammadu Buhari in Scotland. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari was in Scotland on a special invitation of the Prince of Wales and heir apparent to the throne of the British monarchy, Prince Charles Arthur George. Simply put, it was a befitting reciprocal honor as the Prince of Wales and his wife were hosted in Abuja by the Nigerian leader in November 2018. During the closed-door engagement that lasted 1.5 hours, President Muhammadu Buhari and Prince Charles deliberated extensively on climate change, its devastating consequences on the environment, and sustainable responsive measures.
The major takeaway is essentially that the Prince is now committed to helping to, first of all, get experts into Nigeria to assist in certain areas such as reforestation, which is a priority for us. And also ultimately helping mobilizing investors. The strategy that the Prince really emphasized was a possibility of bringing together huge investors. He talked about having the largest pool or conglomerate of investors ever in the world who would be able to carry out actions that will be, friendly to the environment, but as I said, in a sustainable way.
Challenges associated with the receding lake chart, the farmers' hardest crisis, and other environmental issues confronting Nigeria were critically analyzed and suggestions made on the best way forward. President Buhari and the Prince of Wales also discussed the role the Commonwealth can play towards mitigating the impact of climate change on member nations.
The Prince of Wales, as you know, he is now the head of the Commonwealth, and the next summit of the Commonwealth will be in Kigali in Rwanda in the middle of the year, and looking at very concrete strategies to start addressing some of these environmental challenges, and the possibility of setting up specialist councils of countries that would provide skilled resources addressing different aspects of preserving the environment, but preserving it, as I said, in a sustainable way. It does not have to be an endeavor that just drains countries of financial resources.
Others on President Buhari's entourage to Scotland include Nigeria's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom and his Chief of Staff, Abakari. From Glasgow, Scotland, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari earlier hosted the Nigerian community in London, where he hinted that the federal government may not be in a hurry to reopen the nation's land borders, partially closed since August last year, to check smuggling activities.
Mr. President, however, reassures that the action is not targeted at the country's neighbors. Here again is State House correspondent Adamu Sambo to give us details of the interaction.
Amongst those representing the Nigerian community in the United Kingdom at the interactive session was the reigning world heavyweight boxing champion, Nigeria's Anthony Joshua, who made a symbolic presentation of his 4 belts to the Nigerian leader. President Buhari used the opportunity to appreciate members of the diaspora community for making Nigeria proud in their various fields of endeavor, as well as significantly contributing to the nation's economy through their remittances. The president thereafter brought his guest up to speed on his administration's genuine efforts at taking Nigeria to the next level in fulfillment of pre-election promises. The closure of the nation's land borders, for instance, he said, was in furtherance of government's commitment towards securing the country and stabilizing the economy for a sustainable future.
My aim of closing the border is not to punish my neighbors, but to take stock of what we need to do economically and security-wise, to stop coming drugs, to stop coming arms, among others, to be in charge of our country. We found out the farmers were celebrating and were asking me to keep the borders closed. In fact, I warned the governor of Central Bank. I said, if he gave a cent to anybody importing food, me and him, we can produce what we eat, and that we are doing in Nigeria, and we don't regret it. We are saving hundreds of millions of dollars, for importing food. Some of it I know is fraudulent.
The president also promised to sustain efforts at ensuring that the nation's assets illegally taken away by those who do not mean well for the country are fully recovered and effectively utilized for public good.
Anybody that is caught, we will make sure that he is tried, no matter how long it will take for him, and whatever belongs to the public, we get it back.
Speaker after speaker at the event described President Muhammadu Buhari as a godsend to Nigeria and promised every support and assistance to the nation's upward trajectory for greater tomorrow.
This is one head of state or president that Nigeria will never and must never forget.
So thank you for continuing to sacrifice for a country that everybody says is done.
And hopefully by the time you leave office, it will be difficult to go back to our old days.
If there's anything that you guys need me for, I'll stand up for Nigeria. For sure.
The president is doing a lot, and all Nigerians, irrespective of tribe, irrespective of religion, must unite to support this president so that he can lead us to the greatness that we all desire and deserve.
What next after this kind of engagement with the president?
Oh, they're all interested in investing in their country. We create a platform to make that happen. Nigerians in the UK control over £100 million economy. Billions that can, we need to work together. So we keep passing the message from Mr. President, let's work together to build the Nigeria of our dream.
President Buhari is in London for the UK-Africa Investment Summit starting on Monday. From London, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
That was quite a nice touch from the world heavyweight champion there, Anthony Joshua, wouldn't you say?
Okay, really I agree with you. What Yoruba calls the dobale, he did it for the president, which shows that despite being in London for that long, he's still in touch with his roots.
Absolutely.
And now back home, Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, is one of the recipients of awards presented to individuals who have positively impacted on the lives of the Nigerian public.
Yes, the award was given at the 2020 valedictory ceremony of graduating law students of Igbedion University, Okada, Edo State. A former Okafor has details.
The graduates were excited and beaming with smiles, cheering as they received intermittent words of advice from the different speakers. The messages of the Vice Chancellor of Igbinedion University, Professor Lawrence Ezemonye, and other speakers were centered on the nobility of the law profession, which they believe at its best can transform lives, protect the oppressed, and help build the nation.
Your first job may not be your career. Most of you will start jobs, but change them at least once, maybe twice, or even more.
Stand firm for the truth always. And you now have the opportunity to become leaders.
The Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, who was presented by the Zonal Director, NTA Benin Network Center, Pauline Igbano, also believes that it is imperative that the law graduates assert themselves in ethics of the profession to shape the future of the legal profession in Nigeria.
Alhaji Lai Mohammed, it is service to the country, service to humanity. You can see the dedication, the seriousness, the discipline and the humility that he carries out his assignment. And I believe that his training as a lawyer is to a large extent has contributed to the success of his career today. You have a degree in your hands, and I believe that it is an opportunity. It's something like a signpost for you to contribute your quota to the growth of our country, Nigeria.
Then came the award presentation to deserving individuals. Among them is the Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, for his contributions to the nation's development. From Igbinedion University, Okada, Ifoma Okafor, NTA News.
The Minister of Education, Adamu, has directed the Governing Council of the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria and the Selection Board to proceed with all processes required for the appointment of a new Vice-Chancellor for the institution. The Minister, while responding to a request by the Vice-Chancellor of the University for the intervention of the Obi of Onitsha in the disagreements over the selection process, said the selection process should proceed as scheduled in accordance with approved guidelines, having established that the processes and procedures adopted in the ongoing selection exercise are constant with the approved guidelines and the Universities Act. The Minister said proceedings should be continued to a logical conclusion. It is in the expectation of the Ministry that the Governing Council, under the leadership of its chairman, take all necessary steps to ensure a successful discharge of this mandate in a prompt, accountable and transparent manner without undue rancor.
The Ministry of Science and Technology and the University of Dundee, Scotland, are to develop a technical committee to focus on the study of nanotechnology, biotechnology, forensics and information communication technology, ICT, for mutual benefits. Minister of State for Science and Technology, Abdullahi Mohammed, said this when he received the Associate Dean of the University, Professor Peter McCleavey, and the Nigerian chapter of the university's Alumni Association in his office. The minister commended the university for being a top destination of study for Nigerian students from undergraduate to doctorate levels, adding that the ministry will tap into the university's trove of knowledge because science, technology and innovation are keys to the future. He said the ministry would sponsor its scientists to study at the university, which would be of huge benefit to both parties.
Raise a number of areas of strength from Dundee University that will be of great interest to us in terms of collaboration. We are particularly interested in biotechnology, forensics, ICT. We will be in close contact with the alumni so that we can raise a small technical committee.
The success and strength of that link is represented in the fact that we have over 1,000 alumni from Nigeria who have studied for their postgraduate, undergraduate and doctoral degrees at the University of Dundee, and they have risen to the highest levels of the public and private sector across this country.
Of International Studies, Dundee University, Professor Peter McCleavey said his university was focused on developing close and mutual ties with the country and especially the ministry. He further hailed the track record of Nigerian students in the university and how they have excelled in their studies and contributed positively to the global society.
The federal government is to work out modalities to set up and strengthen the legal basis for the franchise administration being administered by the National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion. Minister of State and Science and Technology, Mohammed Abdullahi, confirmed this, among other plans and objectives the ministry hopes to achieve this year, which are essentially focused towards energizing the Nigerian markets and economy for job and wealth creation. He said most franchises that come into Nigeria come with a lot of baggage and therefore need proper regulation. He commended NOTAP, an agency under the ministry which has been able to establish and check the franchise in a manner that it develops local content and creates jobs.
So we want to strengthen that legal framework for franchise types of regulation so that every other franchise that will come to Nigeria must be able to adapt, to local content, in such a manner that it will comply with the executive order number 5, which provided that virtually whatever contract we're going to do in the country now, it should have some local content to ensure that our engineers, our experts, are given the necessary support, to also exhibit their skills and talent.
Regarding funding and research and development results for commercialization, the minister said the ministry will be exploring the option of engaging venture capitalists.
Now, just a few moments ago, the Supreme Court has affirmed the victory of Abdullahi Ganduje as the governor of Kano State. We now join Vera Chimuba live from the Supreme Court. Vera, how's it going there? We just heard the latest developments. Abdullahi Ganduje has been affirmed as the governor of Kano State. Just give us a feel of what the atmosphere is there right now.
INEC ordered re-election, which was held on the 23rd of March, and the incumbent governor of Kano State was declared winner of that election. The PDP candidate certainly
Okay, we apologize for that. We'll get back to Vera as well as we, get them. Now, if you're just joining us, this is the news at 10, broadcast live on NTA News 24, Abuja. When we return,
Northeast Development Commission visits Deradicalization and Reorientation Camp for Reformed Insurgents in Gombe State.
This is NTA News 24 broadcasting from Abuja. You can watch us anywhere, anytime on the following platforms.
StarTimes Channel 101, Free TV Channel 73, DSTV Channel 490, and Channel 46.
For more information, log on to our website www.nta.ng or join us on our social media handles: Twitter at NTA News 24, Facebook at NTA News 24.
For comments, suggestions and inquiries, send an email to news24@nta.gov.ng or call us on the following numbers.
NTA News 24,
news and more news.
Thanks for remaining with us. Now, officers of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, and men of the Lagos Fire Service have successfully curtailed and localized the fire outbreak caused by a pipeline explosion at the Ilepo area of Agbulegba in Lagos this Sunday. The explosion was said to have been caused by vandals. A statement by the Director General, LASEMA, Dr. Olufemi Osayin-Tolu, indicates that the fire has caused panic among the residents within Awori and the Agbulegba pipeline communities as they were seen fleeing their houses. It states further that the curtailing of the fire was made possible by the complementary roles of the Lagos Fire Service officers who arrived at the scene on time.
Okay, we've now re-established contact with Vera, the Supreme Court. Hello, Vera. Can you continue from where you stopped?
First of what has been said, that represents the judgment. And you cannot challenge it. You must take it by faith. That's all.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, the Sokoto judgment the Prince Court has also delivered the Sokoto judgment, and everywhere is calm. And I hope the parties will now go home, and then the governors will now go home and concentrate on giving Nigerians the dividends of democracy.
All right, so Vera, is that all 3 judgments delivered now? Or is there still one outstanding? Is all the judgments being affirmed now, Vera, or is there still another outstanding judgments we're awaiting?
Yes, please. I think the 2 judgments slated for today have been delivered. Yeah, those are the 2 for today. The Sokoto and Kano.
Okay, when will we be expecting to hear from the remaining judgments? Are we supposed to?
Well, it depends on what the court. It depends on the decision of the Supreme Court. It's only the Supreme Court that will decide what happens to the other cases pending. We wait on the Supreme Court. It's the apex court which decides what is right and what is not right in accordance with the law.
Well, thank you very much, Vera. That will be all for now. Thank you very much. Now, moving on, the post-crisis management of Boko Haram insurgency by the federal government is a step in the right direction in the effective fight against insurgency.
This is the impression of the Northeast Development Commission on a visit to the Deradicalization, Reorientation and Reintegration Camp in Malam Sidi, Gombe State. Zara Umar Adamu reports.
The visit of the Northeast Development Commission to Deradicalization Camp under the Operation Safe Corridor is to assess the facilities at the camp and to interact with the clients and other staff. The camp, which has deradicalized 893 clients since its establishment in April 2016, is now without challenges, with the highest number of ex-combatants presently undergoing the program.
As an outfit, we have also been engaging in outreach, free medical outreach, and other civil-military relationship to foster this cordial relationship that we are having with the people of Gombe.
10 kVA electric generator for camp cleaning and release of funds for running and maintenance of electric power generators, constant purchase of PMS or HU, purchase of motorized chair and limbs for physically challenged clients.
The Managing Director of the Northeast Development Commission, Mr. Muhammad Gwani Al-Kali, assures of continued support to the success of the program.
It's a key partner in what we are doing in the commission. So our coming here has shown us what they're doing here, and they've told us their own problems, what are the challenges. And our role now is to find out how we can be able to solve some of these problems so that they can receive more clients here, and they also expand their activities here.
The clients who could not hide their joy for giving them the opportunity for transformation into better citizens appreciated the federal government for the program. 618 ex-combatants are presently undergoing the deradicalization program. Zara Umar Adamu, NTA News.
And in readiness for the final onslaught against insurgency in the northeast and terrorism, the Nigerian Air Force says it is enhancing professionalism and strengthening capacity for effective and efficient development of air power.
Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar said this during an operational visit to Lagos. Lynn Leneke was there.
The
The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, who inspected some of the ongoing capital projects which spread across Air Force formations in Lagos, expressed satisfaction with the pace of work on the renovation of the NAF 913 aircraft at the 631 Aircraft Maintenance Depot, which he described as critical to the war against terrorism and other forms of criminality in the country.
The objective is to ensure that we create an enabling environment for our ground forces to be able to conduct their own operations without any hindrance. And I think we are doing that very well. And I believe at the end of the day, it will impact positively on what the personnel are doing in terms of providing logistic support to Nigerian Air Force operations.
The success story of the fight against insurgency can also be linked with provision of welfare for officers, airmen and airwomen, especially befitting accommodation.
Now, the human being is the most important resource. Unless you take care of the human being, chances are that they will not be effective. And that's why we are ensuring that we renovate their accommodation, provide adequate accommodation for them. And from what I have seen from Ikeja to this place, I think we have made substantial progress. I'm happy.
The Chief of the Air Staff said the Air Force will not relent in boosting the morale of its personnel in this regard. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Katsina State Police Command has killed 2 kidnappers and rescued a victim of kidnapping after a gun battle at Yatalata village in Manumfashi local government area of the state.
Abdulmalik Hassan reports that the police also apprehended a kidnapper at the scene of the incidents.
The rescued victim was abducted at his residence at Government Girls Secondary School Malumfashi staff quarters of Malumfashi local government area of Katsina State, with 50 million naira ransom demanded for his release. However, the incident took a different dimension when the special anti-robbery squad of the Katsina State Police engaged the kidnappers in a gun battle at Yartalata village of Malumfashi to rescue the victim. In the course of the gun duel, the police shot to death 2 kidnappers and 1 was arrested, while others escaped. Addressing a press conference, the State Commissioner of Police, Sanusi Buba, reiterated commitment of the command in the fight against kidnapping, cattle rustling, and other heinous crimes.
We are determined, more than ever before, to deal decisively with any individual or group of individual criminals who may decide to contemplate testing the will of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Katsina State, who was magnanimous enough to call for change of attitude by all criminals. Any violation of the Riot Act will be severely dealt with.
He called on the public to always support and cooperate with the command in the ongoing fight against the criminal activities. The rescued victim narrates his audio.
I spent up to 2 weeks there. Big phone, called my uncle. Now talk to me, now tell me, I tell my uncle that if they did not send money, 50 million, they will not bail me out. They were feeding me with bread and mineral the whole stay. I can't move because my legs were chained.
It could be recalled that the state government has restricted the movement of motorcycles from 7 in the evening to 6 o'clock in the morning, all in another giant stride to address the security challenges bedwelling the state. In Katsina, Abdulmalik Hassan, NTA News.
You're still watching the news at 10, reaching you live on NTA News 24. Abuja. Still to come.